You ever notice how, in every perfect neighborhood, there's always somebody who thinks the world spins on their rules? Yeah, I learned that the hard way, and let me tell you, it started the day a tow truck rolled up to my front yard, engine still rumbling, with the HOA president standing there like she was about to win a medal for most annoying neighbor of the year. She had that look, you know, the one, clipboard, pinched smile, thinking she was about to score one for the home team by getting rid of my old Ford pickup. What she didn't know was who that truck actually belonged to, or what she just stepped into. By the time she yanked open that door, the entire street just froze. It's funny how quiet a place can get when someone's about to make a huge mistake in public. Before we get into this mess, drop a comment and tell me where you're watching from. And hey, if you like real stories that'll punch you in the gut, like and subscribe, share it with someone who needs to remember what respect actually means. So here's how it all started. My name's James Miller, 20 years in the Army, more nights awake than I care to count, sand in places it shouldn't be, and a head full of memories that never really quiet down. After I retired, I just wanted peace, somewhere with soft Texas sunsets and maybe a little neighborly kindness. So I picked this small suburb. Outside Austin, thought I'd finally found it, too. Clean lawns, friendly faces, the whole postcard thing. Little did I know my biggest battle was waiting right there, behind all those white fences. See, that old Ford, looked like junk to most folks, was the same truck that carried me home after my last tour. In the glove box? A folded flag, given to me when we finally came back alive. Pictures of brothers I lost along the way. A medal I never wanted, earned one night nobody back home will ever read about. I parked that truck in my driveway every day, took care of it. Sometimes just sat in the cab for hours, because in there, for a little while, I felt like I wasn't the only one left. But not everybody sees what you see. Karen Thompson, the president of our HOA, self-appointed queen of the cul-de-sac, she saw rust, not sacrifice. She started with sticky notes on the windshield. Vehicles must be in good condition. Then came the official letters, full of non-compliance and threats about penalties. I tried to explain, but she wouldn't listen. Didn't want to. All she saw was a dent in her picture-perfect world, not the story underneath. And honestly, I figured that would be the end of it. But if you've ever dealt with someone like that, you know it never is. Pretty soon, the tension was everywhere. Some neighbors whispered that they had my back, but kept their blinds shut. Others just looked away, hoping not to get involved. Every morning, Karen strutted past my driveway with her little white dog, pausing just long enough to shake her head in dramatic fashion, like I was ruining the neighborhood with my memories. But I'd seen worse. Combat zones, loss, nights you pray you'll see sunrise, so I let it roll off my back. Until one day, I come home, and there's this neon yellow notice on my front door, final notice. Vehicle in violation. Tow scheduled. I stood there, letter in my fist, staring at that truck and thinking, not today, old friend. We've faced worse. That night, I crossed the street while Karen was out pruning her roses, acting like she couldn't see me. I said, Karen, 20 years I wore this country's uniform. That truck's not junk. It's my life, my memories. Can't we? She cuts me off, smirking. James, this isn't the Army. Maybe it's time you moved on from that piece of junk. It hit hard, harder than I'll admit. I just nodded, turned away, not angry, just tired, like a soldier who knows the real fight is just starting. Next morning, 8 o'clock sharp, there's a roar outside my window. I look out. Tow trucks in my driveway. Karen's got her clipboard, practically vibrating with excitement. Let's clean up this neighborhood, she says to the driver. I run out, heart pounding. You touch that truck, you'll have to go through me. The driver, bless him, looks uncomfortable, glances at Karen. Ma'am, maybe we should wait, but she snaps, do it. Now. As the driver lowers the hook, Karen spots something glinting through the window. Curiosity gets the better of her. She marches over, yanks the door open, and she just stops. Inside, there's that folded flag. A weathered photo of 5 guys beside a battered Humvee, a medal hanging from the mirror. Karen's jaw drops. She's suddenly out of lines. The tow driver removes his cap, eyes down, quiet as a chapel. The street is silent. Neighbors start stepping out, drawn by the commotion. Someone whispers, "That's James's truck, he's a vet." Karen turns, stammering, I didn't know. but everyone can see it. She's lost control of the story. I walk up, keep my voice steady. That flag right there? It was handed to me the day my best friend came home in a box. Karen can't look at me. She tries to mumble something about just doing her job. I tell her, your job is to build a community, not tear it apart. The tow driver disconnects the cable, tells me, sir, I'm sorry. I didn't know. I just nod. A neighbor pulls out their phone, quietly records the scene. Before long, that video, HOA tries to tow veteran's truck, blows up online. I wasn't thinking about viral moments. I just stood by my truck, all the memories inside, feeling the weight of every battle I ever fought, over there and here. Karen tries to save face, mutters, I suppose we can make an exception, but nobody's listening anymore. I look at her one last time and say, you can't tow on her, ma'am. The words hang there, heavy as stone. She turns, heels clicking away, every step a little smaller than the last. Neighbors start coming over. One woman says, we're proud of you, James. I just nod, eyes stinging, because this was never about revenge, it was about respect. But what happened next, nobody saw coming. By that afternoon, the story was everywhere. News feeds, timelines, veterans groups demanding an apology. The HOA calls an emergency meeting. People who never spoke up before now shout for Karen's resignation. The vote's unanimous, she's out. For someone who loved rules, she sure didn't last long without them. Me? I didn't brag, didn't celebrate. That night, I sat on the porch, the flag beside me, staring at that old truck, realizing justice sometimes shows up where you least expect it. A neighbor, the one who filmed, walks over, says, people online are calling you a hero. I shake my head. Heroes are the ones who never made it home. Later, the HOA issues a public apology, puts a memorial bench in the park for veterans. They ask if I'll show up for the dedication. At first, I say no. But a week later, I stand by that flagpole, old uniform jacket on, neighbors lined up to shake my hand. A little boy comes up, salutes, says, my dad's in the army too. I want to be like you. I kneel down, tell him, real strength isn't fighting. It's standing up for what's right. That truck, rust and all, was never just metal. It was memory, promise, sacrifice. That day, the world saw what Karen never could. Sometimes, the smallest battles show the biggest hearts. If you felt something listening to this, tell us in the comments. Do you think respect can ever be towed away? Share your thoughts, like, subscribe, and send this to anyone who still believes in standing up for each other. Even when it's not easy that you'd think that'd be the end, right? Justice done, the bad guy out, the flag flying where everyone could see it. Neighborhood healed, life moving on, but real life. It's never that neat. For a while, things did get quieter. Folks who'd kept their distance started waving, even the ones who used to avoid my side of the street. Kids would point at my old truck on their way to school, asking if it was really a hero's truck, if maybe it had been to war too. I'd smile, tell them it saw plenty, just not the kind of battles you read about in history books. But peace is a funny thing. It can't stick if people don't learn. A few weeks after the ceremony, I found an anonymous letter in my mailbox. No return address, just a single sheet folded twice. Not all heroes are welcome here. Some of us remember the rules. At first, I laughed it off, thought, Karen's got a friend still holding a grudge. But there was something uneasy in the handwriting. Something that kept me looking over my shoulder every time I rolled up the driveway. Then, one rainy night, I saw headlights slow rolling past my place. Not just once, but 3, for times in an hour. Old habits die hard, so I jotted down the license plate. I couldn't shake the feeling that someone, somewhere, still wanted that truck gone. Sure enough, a couple days later, I wake up and the driver's side window is smashed, glass everywhere, flag knocked off the seat, metal on the floorboard, mud all over the bench. For a second, I just stood there, rain dripping down my neck. Fists clenched, trying to hold in everything I wanted to shout at the world. That's when my neighbor, Mr. Harris, the old widower from down the block, came shuffling over in his slippers, umbrella in hand. Don't just stand there, son, he says, voice raspy but warm. I fought in Korea, and I've seen what bitterness does to people. You keep your head up. They can break glass, but they can't touch what matters. He bent down, picked up the flag, and dusted it off like it was made of gold. That tiny act, right there in the rain, probably saved me from sinking into a dark place I hadn't felt in years. And wouldn't you know it, the whole street started to rally. Harris and his grandson fixed the window. The local kids painted a little "Thank you, Mr. Miller's" sign on my fence. One kid even left a toy soldier on the porch, said it would stand guard at night. Maybe it sounds cheesy, but it got to me. All those years, I thought I had to fight alone, never realized what it meant to let a community step up and fight with you. A week later, the police knocked on my door. Turns out, the HOA wasn't the only one with eyes on our street. Security footage from 3 houses caught a familiar car circling the block that night. And here's the twist. It wasn't Karen or one of her cronies. It was the tow truck driver. Yeah, the same guy who'd been there that morning, hat in hand, acting all respectful. Turns out, after that video blew up, he got flack online, lost work, even had his own HOA breathing down his neck about bad publicity. He blamed me for his troubles, decided if he couldn't tow the truck, he'd just break it instead. Life's got a sick sense of humor sometimes, doesn't it? I pressed charges, but even then, I felt no satisfaction. The guy was just another person who thought the world owed him order. Still, the community stood with me. Neighbors I barely knew showed up for the hearing. The judge shook my hand. Even the sheriff offered to drive by extra for a few weeks. Word got out, and something shifted in town. People started leaving flowers on my porch, notes from other vets, strangers driving across the county just to say thank you. Funny thing is, Karen never showed her face again. House went up for sale. Rumor was she moved to Florida, started fresh somewhere her name wasn't dirt. But it wasn't about her anymore. It was about us, all of us, learning what it really means to have each other's backs. My old truck's still there, little dent in the door, flag on the dash. A reminder every time I look outside that sometimes the loudest victories are the ones you don't plan. And that's how it goes. Life throws you curveballs. Sometimes the battle comes to your front lawn. But the real fight, the one that matters, is whether you choose to stand tall, let others in, and remember why respect isn't just a word, but a way of living. So, let me ask you, what would you have done? Would you have stood your ground, or let the past get towed away? Drop your thoughts below. Do you think one act of kindness can really change a whole community? And if you've got a story of your own, I want to hear it. Like, subscribe, share this with someone who's been through a battle they didn't deserve. You never know whose day you might change, just by standing up for what's right.